Okay, biggest point of my video today is I'm going to do a sound test on the cruise and comfort air conditioning system. I've had some requests on this, I want to do it, but I've also had a lot of questions on stealth ability, what people think about stealth. And what I want you to do is to focus in on my van. And I want you to just listen to what I'm saying and look at that van. And my first question to you is simply this. If you drove by, take all the equation out that you know anything about van life. Let's say you didn't. Would you drive by this van and give this thing a second look as to thinking somebody was in it? The answer would be no, you wouldn't. You wouldn't know it. Even if you do, you still have to go, is that an RV? Because if you look at my van at the top, it looks like racks on the top. It doesn't even look like solar panels. And I've had people that know about this ask me. They know about these vans and they ask me, are those solar panels? Is that thing tricked out? Basically, you got it built out inside. You see a Max Air fan, as you do, but there are work vehicles like mobile pet washing vehicles that have those. If you go around to the other side, I have that vent window. You'd have to study it to look and see if there is, that's a vent window. It's slotted. You kind of see and go, okay, I get it. It's slotted. But when you drive on this side, you think, it's just a work van. At night, you wouldn't see that inset right there. And some people that might think work vans have vent windows. Same thing. And by the way, I've got to wash my van. Excuse that. But anyway, you walk around. I have window covers in this thing. I've got those window covers that I talked about that are amazing, that you can't see light at night in here. You'll never see me in here. But if you see those wires up top there, you might have to study them and go, where are those coming from? What is that? And you probably won't even notice them if you didn't know anything about it. You walk around this van. So the air conditioning, the cruise and comfort system is inside the vehicle. You'd never know it was in here. In fact, you don't see the condenser unit up under that van. You don't see it. It's tucked way up under there. And like I say, my point here is stealth is everything you make it. That's my biggest point here. There's a big question on the internet about, I've heard people say stealth is BS. It doesn't exist. It does exist. It is everything you make of it. If you're outside hanging out in a chair or an awning on this thing or cooking dinner outside of this thing, you've lost all forms of stealth. People obviously know you're in it. How you park it. This thing will park in a conventional parking spot, even though I'm over the line there. How you park it and I move it around has a lot to do with how stealthy you are. I get in it, sit in the front for a little bit and look around, and then I'll just quietly get in the back. People aren't going to see you. It's so dark. That curtain is so black. You don't even know there's anything back there. It's just, and how you carry yourself is how stealth is. The one guy I know that knows about stealth parking, he lived on the streets of Los Angeles for 2 years. He had a white ProMaster. And he had some magnetic decals sometimes, or he'd park on the streets, on the side of the street, sometimes in front of the police stations. It's Jared Tachi. I've mentioned Jared before. Jared Tachi is a YouTube channel. If you want to know, I'll put the link there in the video. But he's a great YouTuber, and he's the one guy to tell you about stealth parking, and it's easier than you think. You just have to kind of use your brain. Sometimes these cities have ordinances where they will not let you park in parking lots and they don't allow anything. Sometimes you just got to change your play, and van life is not always about stealth parking. For instance, when I was in Panama City Beach, Florida last week, I had to go to an RV park. I'm glad I got a spot. I had to pay $28 a night for that. Sometimes you have to do it. Sometimes, like if you go in the New England area, I've heard they're very hard on people dwelling in vehicles and RVs. If you're not in an RV park, which is expensive, you're going to have to get in a hotel. I'm already prepared. If I go through New England for 2 or 3 nights, I'm going to have to get a hotel room. It just is what it is. But if I park this van in the parking lot of that hotel, they're not going to suspect it's an RV. They'll never know it. I don't draw attention to it. If you draw attention to yourself, they're going to know you're in it. Now, I will get to the sound test in a minute, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the outside sound test. I'm going to do it inside, but I want to go through one more point. When I'm home, I have my car. Take a look at what's around me in this parking lot. That's my car right there, that blue Honda. It's not parked by my van, so it doesn't look like anybody's with me. It doesn't look obvious. Sometimes I park it to the back of the grass over here and back it up, but I don't park my car next to me, so it doesn't look like someone's with me. There are guys that'll park their vans here at work, go to work. That box truck right there has been in this parking lot over a year. Walmart doesn't care because you're not causing problems for them. That electric van over there is a van, that guy parks it here. He either parks it here because he lives in a neighborhood that has an HOA that won't allow that decaled van, or he drives long distance to work and doesn't want to use that many miles in the van, so this is a good halfway point. That's why FedEx drivers will park their vans in Walmart parking lots sometimes. If you don't draw attention to Walmart, they're so busy they don't care. You're not causing problems, but you've got to be respectful of these things. Cracker Barrel, any of these places you stay. So that's my point on that. So anyway, with no further ado, if I walk around this van, it's really quiet besides the noise in the background with all the traffic. In these parking lots, there's so much noise. This condenser fan, because I've had a couple requests to do this to see how loud the condenser fan is outside the van. I know for a fact it's quieter than a generator. It's not a noise that's going to attract any attention to this van. When you walk away from it, you don't hear it. You've got a lot of noise in these parking lots, and it blends. No one really cares. They don't pick up on what's that fan noise. It kind of sounds like a vehicle's running or sounds like an airline jet. But when you walk away from it, you're not going to hear it much. So my point of that noise stealth ability is sometimes you kind of want that fan on, so if someone does walk up to the van, they may suspect you're in there. They're less inclined to mess with your vehicle because they hear that noise. And they're like, oh, it's running. Don't mess with that vehicle. Because right now, my only worry about of anything is there's a slew of people cutting out people's catalytic converters, and that's my biggest worry. Someone getting up under my van in the middle of the night trying to cut it out. They do it when I'm in there. They're not going to like me too much, I guarantee you. And if they go off in that van, it'll be a bad day for them. Probably the last bad day they ever have. So, but be that it may, it's everything you make of it. So I'm going to pause this. I'm going to go turn the condenser fan on, and I'll walk around and I'll show it to you. All right, now I'm outside the van, and you hear like summer noises in the trees and nature, but if I'm walking around the van here, you can hear kind of the fan a little bit. In fact, I'll put it up under the van. That's up under the van. You hear it under the van. Now, as I walk around the van, you can't hear that fan that much. You can't. I walk away from this van, you don't hear it. It kind of sounds like the van is running, but it doesn't. It's not a noise that draws people's attention to this van. They're not going to hear it because here I'm walking away from it and you don't hear it. A generator is louder than that. I'm 60 yards from the van, you can't hear it. People in the distance are not going to hear this fan going over this. If they're up on the van, they'll hear something, but they won't really know it's coming from here. They won't know it. I'm in front of the van. And you don't hear it. You hear faintly something, but you don't hear it. It is faint. You got all kinds of noise around you, and no one's going to know you're in it. At night, it's the same way. They have to be up on this van to hear it. Now, mind you, I got the single condenser fan. Jared Tachi has a double. It could be a little bit louder, but I know it's not too much louder. It's not. So the reason why it was loud in my dad's driveway is because it was reverberating off his garage door. And even if people were walking down the sidewalk, they would think it was coming from the house, from the AC unit. They wouldn't know. This kind of sounds like maybe an airline jet taxiing on the runway a little bit. But you can't hear it at all. You can't. And I will go inside and I'll show you another sound test of you can't hear the outside fan inside the van. All right, now I'm inside the van. You can't hear that outside fan, and one is partly that this fan is very well insulated. Sheep's wool is very good. I had that 2mm foil closed cell foam version than the sheep's wool. So you don't want to over insulate your vehicles, but you want to insulate it right. Keep those vents back there in there if you've got them in your van. It has to breathe. But you can't hear that fan outside. You'll hear it kick in a little bit, and then the blower comes on in here, and then you don't hear it. But the blower is on the second speed, and I think there's a third one that's a little bit louder, but that's what I keep it on, and it's so much quieter than those Coleman mock air conditioners that are so loud. I had one in my RV, and I couldn't even talk. It was annoying as thing, and it was hard to sleep with it. So, but I mean, that blower is right over there, the diffuser. And I'll put it on its low setting. I'll put it on the low setting here. I'll kick it on the low, and you can barely hear it. It'll kick out in a minute. You'll hear it. That's your low fan. It's quiet in here. Now, I don't know if it quiets down outside. I'm going to go find out here real quick, and then I'll let you know. All right, I'm back. I don't have to play it. The fan is at the same speed outside, same noise. It doesn't get any quieter with the blower in here, but it's quiet. It's putting cool air in the room, but at a smaller rate. Now, mind you, also, if you want to know, that on that higher fan speed, it was only pulling 27 amps. This is DC, guys, 12 volt DC. This thing is worth the 4,500 because it's efficient. And I'll give you an idea. At night, in the hot summer, temperatures here in the southeast maintain about 80 to 84 degrees. It gets the humidity out of the room, and it's a cold 80 degrees. I'll put this thing on 80, and once, like I told you, you let the vehicle AC cool the room. You turn this on when it gets close to temperature. Turn the cruising comfort on with it, and when the cruising comfort unit cuts off and the car AC is still running, turn the car off. And then close your thermal curtain and let the cruising comfort AC just monitor the room temperature and maintain it. It'll kick on and off just like your house. And I don't use but about 20 to 25% of battery every night. And that's at night, and you sleep great. And I'll tell you, I have to put a blanket over me. So, but that's the noise. And if I kick this thing to the second speed, it'll kick off and it'll kick back up again. Not that loud. I mean, you hear it. So, like I say, guys, I'm going to turn it off. That's your sound test, man. This thing is amazing, and it's so worth it. I know it's expensive, but I'm telling you, it's so worth it. And if you look at the long run, if you build your van right, it'll sell. It's going to put value in your van. People are going to go, oh, yeah, you've got that great of an AC system. That makes it so much more valuable and something they want to travel in. That it's not loud, it's not, bulky up the top of your vehicle. They put these things in yachts and in sailboats, guys. They put them in government vehicles, 18-wheelers. And as I said, I think there's another company that makes them for 18-wheelers. I think they're pull higher current, and these 18-wheelers have generators running them. So, but this is really one true 12-volt system in the world right now. He does a lot of business with people around the country and putting these things in different things. So, but anyway, that's the best I could do for a sound test. I hope that helped. And you got any other questions, anything I could do, you can let me know. But like I say, the 2 points to this video is stealth is everything you make of it, as I showed you out there. You wouldn't give my van a second look in this parking lot if you didn't know anything about van life. And that fan, it doesn't draw attention to this van. You ain't gonna hear it. No one will hear it. And I sleep with it kicking on and off all night. You probably want it kicking on and off. Like I said, it gives an idea that maybe the vehicle's running or someone's in here. No one would mess with your vehicle too. So they didn't mess with when I had my RV in this very parking lot for 3 months. No one messed with it. No one did. People would gawk at it. That's a cool looking RV because if you look at my past videos, it really was. It was a Winnebago Trend. Loved it, but I just wanted something smaller. There was only one time a guy pulled right next to me on my gas tank side, and I think he was going to try to siphon gas out of my RV. And by the time he looked at the signs and windows, says this is under video surveillance and law enforcement, emergency services know where this vehicle's at all times. He was pulling off, and I noticed there was a gas can in the back of his truck. He was tucked right up against me. About 10 minutes later, he had 5 cops on him, so I think he got the hint. He wasn't coming back to pull that stunt. So whether he was up to no good or not, he got the hint. So anyway, that's that, and I hope that helped so much. And any other questions you guys have, please let me know. Have a great one. Thank you so much for watching. Take care.